Welcome back. We're here now with Ray Binkowski, the author of this book, Eat by Color. This is such an interesting concept because all of us, I'm sure, have tried at one time or another to lose weight, and it seems like nothing really works, but colors seem really easy.
Well, there is an approach that works in my experience as a trainer and a gym owner. For most people, the real trick is finding a simple way to present that so people can remember it and actually apply it to themselves. And that's what I did with Eat by Color. I color-coded the food groups, and you basically treat it very similar to children's paint by number. And you match your fist of a certain color, which represents a food group, at each of the meal. And you combine, a fist of blue with a fist of red, and that might be breakfast. It's simple. It works. There's not much to remember. There's no points or calories or anything else.
So how did you come up with this?
Having been overweight, at one point in time, I was 232 pounds.
Which I cannot believe.
Today, yes. Today
yeah,
I'm
to look at you.
170 or thereabout. I had a 36 going on 37-inch waist. The pants I'm wearing today are a 30.
Wow. You did that all by Eat by Color?
Eventually.
Wow.
After making a lot of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
Which includes trying a lot of the popular fad diets and short-term approaches to really what's a long-term problem, which is the long-term problem is how do I lose weight? Not just while I'm on a diet, but how do I lose weight and keep it off the rest of my life? I've kept my weight off for over 10 years now.
Wow.
And what I did was make a lot of mistakes, start to develop an approach that worked, and then in having the opportunity to work with a lot of other people, I realized in order for this to really work, we need to make it simple, and it needs to be something that anybody can follow with minimal effort.
Well, that's the thing. When you start some sort of complicated fitness plan, week 1, yes, I'm going to do it. Week 2, it's like, okay, and by the 3rd week, you're back on the couch and it's over.
And what happens in the 4th week when you have to work overtime or you've got 2 kids in travel sports, pretty soon you and your goals to lose weight are now on the back burner.
Yeah, it's so funny you would say that because I started a calorie counting app on my phone. It started out great, and I went on vacation last week, and all of a sudden I wasn't plugging all the food in, and it wasn't quite as easy to keep up with as I thought.
And pretty soon that app is there and it's available, but it's not being used. And out of sight, out of mind, you get busy, and that's why, again, you have to have something that's simple that you can do day in and day out that doesn't require a lot of extra effort.
Right. I want to ask you this too, because this is what I've been doing the last few months. I've been trying to count calories, and that's really not what your program is all about, right?
No, the program's not about counting calories, and I myself had done that and have done that at various points. And each time that I did that, I would start to count calories. I would lose weight, the weight loss would stop, I'd reduce them. Weight loss would start, weight loss would stop, I'd reduce them again. And what actually happens, I know this today, I didn't then, is when the body gets to around 1,000 calories a day, it thinks it's starving. And once the body thinks it's starving, the last thing it wants to do is lose fat. Instead, it will start to metabolize muscle, and the amount of muscle we have determines our metabolism.
Okay.
So it actually, you're kind of shooting yourself in each foot. One, because you're getting rid of your muscle, and 2, the body is also working in other ways to slow its metabolism down.
So you're telling me if I keep on this calorie counting thing, eventually it's going to level off and then the weight's going to come back.
Exactly. Actually,
Right.
What normally happens for most people, from experience I've noticed personally and with others, is you reach a point where you're not eating much, the weight loss is really slowed down or outright stopped. You become frustrated. The reality is you're hungry. So now you go back to eating maybe about what you used to eat, where you used to maintain your starting weight, and now you start gaining weight. And that's what leads to what we call yo-yo dieting.
Okay, so what should people be watching then? What is your message instead of just counting calories?
It's balance is required. Any approach to nutrition that eliminates entire food groups for the long term will not work, because the minute, if you're on a low carb, zero carb diet, the minute you have carbs, you just wreck the diet. So elimination of entire food groups won't work. Just counting calories doesn't work because that leads to constantly lowering them, and then the body basically saying, hey, we've had enough, you're starving, we're going to protect ourselves. What does work is balance and moderation. We need to eat. There's a chapter in the book that talks about raising your metabolism. It talks about the importance of increasing the amount of food you eat, And then really one of the secrets is maintaining a stable level, blood sugar level, and with it insulin. It's like a children's seesaw. When insulin goes up, its antagonistic hormone glucagon goes down.
Gotcha.
And glucagon is responsible for burning fat. So if we're constantly elevating our insulin, the hormone that burns our fat goes down, and we can't burn fat for energy.
And unless you're diabetic, insulin is probably something you're not even thinking about.
No, you probably never think about.
Yeah.
And in fact, you know, when you look at diabetes, and specifically type 2 diabetes, if you can control insulin, say in early adulthood, and not end up gaining weight, because the two are related, you also end up less likely to be pre-diabetic, yet alone being diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic later in life.
Gotcha. So here in the book, you actually break down charts of like sample meals broken down by color. And I don't know if you can maybe help me find this here, but there, I mean, you can see the entire book is color coded here. What I'm wondering is, like, for example, for me, I'm a vegetarian, and I know other people have certain things they do and do not want to eat. So it's always been tough for me to adapt my lifestyle to some sort of diet that says, okay, today you eat this and this and this, because it's like, well, chicken's on there and I can't eat chicken. So how do you adapt to those different kinds of, sorry, I should have had you find that before we started.
Right.
How do you adapt to those different kinds of dietary needs, though? Can anyone do this?
Anybody can do this.
There it is. Yeah.
Vegetarians will have less options, but that plays into the idea of why diets fail. You need a long-term dynamic solution to weight loss. And that means the individual that's trying to lose weight needs to be able to make decisions for herself or himself.
Right.
And what I've done is I've color-coded the food groups, and I provide a sample day in this column.
So say, for example, I don't know, say you've got eggs on here. What if you just don't like eggs? Could you substitute another blue item
Absolutely.
there?
A fist of the blue group, and then on one of the pages after this, or I'm sorry, pages preceding this, it lists everything that's in the blue group. So for a vegetarian, that might be, depending on the type of vegetarian it is, it might be like a meat substitute patty.
Gotcha. So, I mean, it's so easy because you look at this and you say, okay, for lunch, I need a blue, a green, a purple, and a red.
You got it. It's that easy. And then you
so
flip
easy.
2 or 3 pages back and you look at, okay, here's the blue group, what's in the blue group, and what am I able to eat? Maybe somebody has a food allergy, so they need options. Maybe somebody is a vegetarian, they need options, and they can go back and they can reference that master list of the food groups and pick and make their own food plan.
And you have good foods on here. I mean, a protein shake is on here. I mean,
fast,
that sounds
convenient,
delicious.
Easy, great for people on the go.
Yeah.
There's also, tying into that as well, I provide a grocery list.
Great. So you can take this with you to the store and just be like, okay, I'm going to buy 5 reds, 4 greens.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And now you know what should go in the cart. Many people end up going to the grocery store and they say, well, all right, I want to try and eat healthier, but they really don't know what they should buy.
Well, in the meantime, you're passing displays that say, buy sugary, whatever.
Everything's screaming your name and saying, put me in your cart too, please.
That's how it is when I go shopping, yeah. That's so funny. So how did you come up with this idea of the colors? Because the concept of using those to make this simpler, it seems like such an easy idea, and I can't believe no one's ever thought of this before.
I've owned a training business for over 10 years now, and I bought a health club 5 years ago.
Okay.
Somewhere around 8 or 9 years ago, I actually wrote Eat by Color. So I've had clients using this approach for a long time. Some of my clients have included military, police, etc.
Okay.
And one time I was working with a Marine captain who was offshore. He was actually returning from the Middle East, and I was working with him over the internet, and he said something to me that I never thought about. You know, to me, I forget what other people do or don't know. And he said, look, he said, everybody below me needs to know what the mission is and be able to execute it if I'm not here. Take what you're telling me and make it simpler.
Gotcha. Well,
and I said, wow, you know, there's something to be said for that. And that started me thinking, how can I teach people to make better food decisions, not diet, better food decisions, but make it really simple.
In a way that they'll actually stick with.
Exactly.
And we actually have a couple people here who you've brought with you who are actually going through the program. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll talk with them next, because I think it's important to see real people who are actually doing this for themselves.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to them when we're